Yes.
What's so special about them?
I love these particular films because each of them embody something that strikes a resonance deep within me. When I was a boy, I really loved horror films, anything with surrealist or fantastic touches affected me, you know. It took me out of my world of reality growing up and put me into a state of kind of a trance. So the first set of films I'm working with are surrealist classic films, two French films from 1924 by René Clair and Fernand Léger. Léger, very well-known painter, and René Clair, a fantastic director of feature films like Les Millions and Sur le Toit de Paris. The third film is by a Russian animator who lived in Paris named Ladislav Starovitz, who is not as well known, of course, as these two other directors, but as you'll see from this film, The Cameraman's Revenge, he was an absolute genius, pioneer of animation, and he took actual insect stick figures and beetles and bugs and figured out a way to make them move using a stop-motion technique. The second set of films I'm working with, which I call Monsters from the Id, as distinct from the first set, which is Sounds of the Surreal. Monsters from the Id takes some of, for me, seminal horror and science fiction classic sound films that have soundtrack, music, and dialogue. And I'm working to improvise and enhance these films with my own music while they screen. And each of them was scientifically selected as representative of films that when I saw them as a boy absolutely fascinated me and turned me on to the possibilities of cinema and also of fantastic music.
Do you think these films are other films after your treatment?
I'm sorry, say again? Please rephrase the question.
You know what I mean. You're adding another type of music.
Yes.
And so, will these films be completely other films now?
I think no. I think they let us say the goal is for them to retain their own distinct qualities, but I'm trying to further juice them, enhance them, you know, inject a certain amount of manic, psychedelic energy to make them even more transformative experiences for the viewer. I tried to, you know, take them up a notch, kick it up a notch to another level of insanity. That's what I'm trying to do. And what better place to do this than in Vienna, the cradle of Freudianism. You know, the title of the second set, Monsters from the Id, one of the sound technicians asked me, what is the id? What is this? The id is the Freudian term for the subconscious mind. And this is supposedly where emanates all of the most intense dream states. You know, and these are monsters from the id. These are crystallized images that were so shocking and fascinating to me as a boy that here I am as an adult person dwelling on them again and meditating on them and trying to further, let us say, draw something new out of the experience and share it with other people. You know, it's taking some of my most private fantasy images, making them public, and then further injecting a kind of a meta level of reality, or surreality, I should say.
Listening and viewing to the feature, I think it's rather strange, and maybe I'm gonna slip into schizophrenia because usually I have pictures in mind. I have a film listening to music, but different.
That's true. Well, I mean, I only ask that the audience surrender themselves to the total experience. You know, it's a kind of Gesamtkunstwerk. I'm trying to make a larger total artwork so that one would come here and it's almost like you are taking a bath in music and imagery. You're immersing, you know, totally immersing yourself into a new kind of experience without the aid of drugs or anything. You know, it's just a primary sensual experience I'm trying to create for the viewer.
Thank you very much for spending time.